All right, let's get right into a topic that sounds like it's straight out of science fiction. We're going to explore a wild claim that one of the most fundamental constants in all of physics was calculated with incredible accuracy thousands of years before we ever thought possible. So, here's the core idea. The speed of light was figured out with almost perfect precision millennia before modern physics even had a name. And the evidence? Well, it's not tucked away in some old lab report. It's supposedly hidden in plain sight, inside ancient Sanskrit texts. Let's dig in and see if this incredible claim actually holds up. So where do we even begin this investigation? Well, not in a modern laboratory, but inside a sacred hymn, a really foundational text in Hinduism called the Vishnu Sahasranama. Now, this text has 1,000 different names that praise the deity Vishnu. But here's the thing. These aren't just random labels. Each name describes a very specific quality or a cosmic aspect. And for our little investigation here, the most crucial names are the ones that link Vishnu directly to the sun. Two of these names are absolutely key. First, Aditya, which means the truth that glows in the solar system. And second, Jyotir Aditya, which translates to the resplendence within the sun. Right away, these names create this direct, unmistakable connection between the spiritual concept and the actual physical properties of our sun. And this is where it gets really interesting, because this isn't just poetry. These names act like a signpost, pointing us directly to a specific commentary on the much older Rig Veda. It's in that commentary that a 14th century scholar named Sayana actually wrote down a quantifiable statement about the sun's light. Okay, now we're getting to the absolute core of the evidence. It all comes down to a single verse, just one line of Sanskrit that might just hold the key to this entire mystery. There it is in the original Sanskrit from Sayana's commentary. Now, for hundreds of years, you could have read this and just thought, wow, that's beautiful poetry. But what if it's more than that? What if it's actually a scientific formula hiding in plain sight?
So here's what it says in English, and you gotta notice, this is not a vague tribute. It's a precise statement. It gives us a specific distance, 2,202 yojanas, and a specific amount of time, half a nimesha.
And that's the big question, right? Is this just a beautiful metaphor, or is it a hidden scientific calculation? To find out, we have to become detectives, both linguistically and mathematically, and crack the code of these ancient units of measurement. Okay, so to really put this verse to the test, we've got to convert two ancient units into something we understand today. Yojanas for distance and Nimeshas for time. And luckily for us, other ancient texts actually give us the conversion factors we need. First up, let's tackle distance. The unit is called a yojana. What's really cool is how they defined it. It's based on tangible things, like the width of a barley grain, and then it scales up from there. So when scholars followed this ancient recipe, they found that 1 yojana is equal to about 9.09 miles. Next up, time. A nimesha is a tiny, tiny fraction of a second, and it's defined in the epic text, the Mahabharata. It's all about breaking down a 24-hour day into smaller and smaller pieces. When you follow these ancient divisions, 1 nimesha comes out to about 0.2112 seconds. So the verse's half a nimesha is just 0.1056 seconds. All right, this is it, the moment of truth. We've got our distance converted to miles and our time converted to seconds. Now we can finally do the math lead out in that ancient verse and see what we get. Let's walk through the math. The distance mentioned in the verse, 2,202 yojanas, translates to just over 20,000 miles. The time, half a nimesha, is a tiny sliver of a moment, just 0.1056 seconds. So what happens when you divide that distance by that time? The result is, well, it's absolutely staggering. The ancient Vedic calculation gives us a value of 189,547 miles per second. Now let's put that number into perspective. The modern, scientifically accepted value for the speed of light is 186,282 miles per second. I mean, just look at those two numbers side by side. They are unbelievably close. So, just how close are we talking? The difference between the ancient calculation and the modern value we use today is a mere 1.7%. That is an astonishingly small margin of error. Inaccuracy like that is way too precise to just be a lucky guess or a coincidence, which, of course, brings us to the biggest question of all.
How could an ancient civilization, without any of our modern tools like atomic clocks or lasers, possibly arrive at this number?
Well, the answer, according to the people who study these texts, might be found in a completely different way of understanding the universe and its laws. Think about it like this. Modern science works from the bottom up. We use external tools, telescopes, particle accelerators, to gather data and build our theories piece by piece. The ancient Rishis, or seers, apparently used a top-down approach. They believed that through deep meditation and turning consciousness inward, they could directly perceive the fundamental truths of the cosmos. This process of perception is known as drishti, and it was basically their primary scientific tool. They weren't setting up experiments and testing hypotheses. They were seeing the answers directly through this deeply cultivated, intuitive awareness. So for them, the universe's constants weren't things you had to measure, but truths you could realize. And this just leaves us with a final, really provocative thought. If a method based entirely on consciousness could so accurately define one of the most important constants in all of physics, what other secrets of our universe might be out there, just waiting to be rediscovered, not in equations, but encoded in ancient verses and hymns?